Hello and welcome to the beautiful game here on CNN IBN. What a night it was at the World Cup in Brazil. What a night it would have been. It will be rather in a few years from now in Holland, and what a painful night in Spain. Good morning, I'm Sanjeev Mukherjee. Joining me on the beautiful game right away at this point of time, straight away from, if I could say, from in front of the television sets, Novi Kapadia, the voice of Indian football, who's very, very excited and delighted that his favourite Arjen Robben has done what was required of him. Also, we have Karim Ben Sharifa, who's going to tell us how exactly tiki-taka is possibly nearing its end. But before we get to Karim and Novi, let's take you right away through the headlines at this hour. Is it the end of tiki-taka? The formidable world champion Spain are given a footballing lesson in their own backyard as Holland decimate them 5-1 to set the World Cup on fire. Australia try their level best, but the might of the tactically superior Chile is just a little bit too much as the South Americans pull off a 3-1 win and increase the pressure on Spain. And the indomitable Lions perhaps have forgotten how to roar as Mexico defeat Cameroon and breathe easy in their first group game. Right, what a night it was for world football. Netherlands got their World Cup campaign off to a blistering start, inflicting a humiliating 5-1 defeat on the reigning world champion Spain in the first group game in Salvador late last night. Robin van Persie and Arjen Robben combining with devastating effect, scoring twice each as the Oranje produced an absolute masterclass to decimate the Spaniards, throwing up more questions for their future in the tournament, as well as the essence of tiki-taka that now seems to be on its last legs, at least on this evidence. All right, the action starts here. Spain drawing first blood in the 27th minute as Diego Costa won what seemed to be a questionable penalty for Xabi Alonso to do the honours. But it would be a moment of inspiration and excellence wedded together by Robin van Persie that fetched the equaliser for the Dutch just a minute away from the breather. Daley Blind sending in a beautiful diagonal pass from near the halfway mark that looped in from the left to create what is simple, the best goal in this tournament so far. Van Persie, even without wings, literally flying in the air like a dolphin, with Ramos gasping behind to score with an outrageous looping header. And the wild celebrations that the team indulged in promised of more to come. Blind would then deliver again a terrific pass for Robben, who displayed terrific control to send it in for the lead in the 51st minute. It became 3-1 in the 64th as Diverage scored after an airborne collision between Van Persie and Casillas. The nightmare continued for Casillas as he messed up a back pass for Van Persie, who in a flash took it away to score in a second. And it was absolute pandemonium as the Spaniards fell to pieces. And Robben then completed the clobbering as he sped away from Ramos and then rounded off Casillas with a majestic 180-degree turn to make it 5-1. Perhaps the end of the glorious days of tiki-taka as Del Bosque's men will now literally face a battle to survive in this tournament. All right, let's take you through how exactly the match happened as far as the statistics are concerned at this very, very important game. Yet again, for the first time in many a season, right now we are not seeing Spain enjoying the 70 to 80% possession, which they're definitely used to, but still they're way ahead of Holland, 57 to 43%. Shots on goal, Spain had 9, Holland had 13. On target though, the Spaniards had just about 50% accuracy, while look at Holland, 11 of 13 shots, that's nearly 90% on targets, and that sort of tells you the real story as to what exactly happened to Holland on this fateful evening. Novi Kapadia, revenge, they say, is a dish best served cold. It was definitely not cold. It was very hot and humid there in Salvador. And what a way to exact revenge. This was not just stunning. This was an unbelievable performance from Holland.
It was an unbelievable performance, and also it becomes a scoreline which makes it one of the historic matches of the World Cup. No World Cup holder has ever lost by such a big margin. I mean, this will be the type of scoreline: USA 1, England 0, Cameroon 1, Argentina 0, which will, have drawn gasps all over the world.
Or Switzerland 1, Spain 0. as it happened. Switzerland won Spain nil, but not as world champions.
They were not as world champions, and Switzerland was not,
Not in
at
the same
that stage.
class, yeah.
It wasn't a devastating defeat.
Right.
This is a shattering of morale. I mean,
Right.
not only end of tiki-taka, is at the end of this generation of players.
Right.
Has he made the same mistake as Roger Lemaire did with France in 2002?
Right.
Taking an aging squad.
Taking an aging squad. That is exactly what was coming to Karim for 6 years. And you are the man to talk about it, Karim. I'm sure you will remember in 2008, you were here on CNN IBN when this journey of Spain, we started with them winning the Euro, and that's where their world domination started. 2008 Euro, 2010 the World Cup in South Africa, 2012 they retained the Euro Championship, but this time it seemed not only were they looking totally off color, but as Novi says, possibly age has caught up, and when it comes to age, even the best fail to understand it maybe.
First, I would like to congratulate our own Robin,
Right.
and even Robin is not one of the youngest players. He's
Yes.
around 30 and still. So I think I would give some rather than criticizing Spain's style and
Right.
Spain way of playing. I would rather give a lot of credit to this
The way
Dutch
Holland
team
played.
and especially to Van Gaal, because most of the teams when they play Spain, they're more bothered how we can stop Spain.
Right.
But Van Gaal teach us not only how to stop Spain, but how to beat them as well.
Right. And in fact, they were destroyed. And Novi, the fact of the matter is that it is such a pounding Spain. Nobody, even the strongest critic of Spain or even the biggest supporter of the Dutch, never expected a 5-1 thrashing. And this is not just a defeat. This is a rout.
Yes, it will take them, to get over this. This was a major psychological blow for the Dutch. And it will certainly take Spain a lot of time to overcome this. Now, does Vicente Del Bosque have the courage to change around his team? Because the next matches are very vital. I thought it was a very nice gesture just before the final whistle. He went and patted all the players on the bench,
Right.
and sort of gave them encouragement. But definitely he has to rethink a lot. And the Spain missed goals also, which obviously shows they still don't have strikers.
Right, and the fact that Karim, as the number of goals which the Dutch missed, that would have made it a double-digit scoreline. But precisely what we have been discussing yesterday, let us get back to the discussion. And obviously, you shed a lot of light in the fact that, yes, they have a fantastic backline, and Busquets and Alonso, they have been, shielding Ramos and Piqué. But in the face of Robin and Van Persie, who were operating through the channel, through the way, they simply could not take it on. Plus the fact that the Dutch never allowed them space in the middle. Show it to us.
Well, it's the Dutch system, 3-5-2, which we said yesterday. No, they study Spain very well, and Spain fell into the trap. Del Bosque fell into the trap. Rather than using these spaces behind the Janmaat and Blind, he wants with his usual system, Gomez, and even using Silva, who we know play inside, using Iniesta play inside, the support of Xavi and Alonso. So Spain did the mistake of trying to break them from the middle, which that was the strength.
Right.
That's why Holland used 3-5-2.
Right.
Now, when Spain have the ball, they are on this situation.
Right.
The side backs move very high on the pitch, Alba as well. Move high on the pitch. We have Piqué and Ramos. They open up wide. Now, what the Dutch did, they define the line when they start tremendous pressure on the ball.
Right.
Sneijder, Robben, and Van Persie,
Right.
they make a first wall of 3 players, aggressive pressure behind them, the 2 central midfielders.
Right.
Now, when Spain is in this situation, we know that they leave spaces. There
Right.
is a big space between Ramos and Piqué.
Right.
There is spaces behind because the Dutch team dropped
Right.
a certain level. They are not
Right.
pressing very high. So there is tremendous spaces.
Right.
And then, but as soon as they win the ball,
Right.
here comes a quick transition.
Right.
What I mean by transition from the Dutch team to attack
Right.
is passes forward.
Right.
From whoever win the ball, they look, because they have already 3 players available.
Right.
But also the runs of Snyder, the run forward of Van Persie,
And
the
the
run forward
Robin.
of Robin, and also we will find later on even the support. We talk about the support of the side backs.
Right.
So Van Persie, Snyder, Robin do a forward run
Right.
forward, but also German and Blind, they use that and they start getting those crosses into those areas that we
Right.
just talked about, sometimes from here, but also on solo run like Robin goal.
In effect, you know, Karim, we've discussed this many times. Van Gaal is a master tactician, but so is Del Bosque. But this time, it seems Van Gaal beat Del Bosque at his own game, because as you say, they started with 3-5-2 the formation. But the moment they're attacking on a counter, moment they have a ball, Snyder, Van Persie, Robin, all three pressing up front. The system sort of resembles then 3-4-3, and that is something which Spain absolutely had no clue to.
They had no answer because in my opinion, Van Gaal studied exactly, you know, since they lost to France back in March.
If I could ask you something here, Karim, the fact is that Busquets and Alonso, they played very crucial roles in Spain's success so far. Was it a mistake by Del Bosque when he kept Busquets as the only defensive midfielder, but he actually replaced Alonso with Pedro?
That was a wrong, for me, that's when the flood opened. Because when he took Xavi Alonso have a big role on helping Busquets defensively, because they are more defensive and they cover the back four, especially when Alba and the left side back, also the right side back move up.
Right.
When he took Alonso, Busquets was completely isolated. But the main problem of Spain yesterday, especially going forward, is what we discussed yesterday.
Right.
He had a choice to play. If you see when Holland defend, the strength of Holland defensively is mainly on this central area.
Right.
And the Dutch crowded it with a lot of players. That's why they played with 5 players.
Right.
But for me, then the weakness of the Dutch team is on the side.
Right.
And that's where I wanted to see rather Pedro,
Right.
who we know he's a wing player. He can give them a quick depth. He can penetrate from the flanks, rather than playing a Silva, who will also, we know, will cut inside.
Right.
And that's how they fell into the trap of Van Gaal.
It'll be, I'm sure someday Del Bosque will realize the mistake he made by falling into the trap. But Novi, also the big disappointment is something we again brought up in last night's preview show with Karim. The fact is that Xavi, is he past his best? Because simply by the performance he gave, it looked as if he failed to turn up in the match. He delivered around 78 passes. Yes, he had 91% accuracy. We'll have those stats up on our screens in just a while. But the fact is that Xavi is, we are used to seeing 150, 200 passes from Xavi. Most of the times he was passing diagonally. There was no passing forward. The fact of the matter is that this team lacked what they call the main thrust which they get from Xavi generally.
Yes, the killer touch was lacking, except we did roll back the clock. The pass which led to the opening goal was absolutely magical, that brilliant through pass. But, you know, for me, the other important factors is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Iker Casillas had an indifferent season. I think he was responsible for 2 of the goals. He's just lost his touch.
We hold it there. We'll come to all the villains of the piece, if we could say, at least for Spain, one by one. But the fact of the matter is, Spain has become world champions. Yes, Casillas is a fantastic goalkeeper, but it is primarily basically based on the midfield. Xavi, Iniesta, Alonso and Busquets behind. But the fact of the matter is, this well-oiled engine, in the face of fleet-footed wingers and the attacking line of Van Persie, Snyder and Robin, they came a cropper.
Yes, Sanjay, but also we should remember Iniesta's brilliant pass to David Silva just before halftime. I thought that if at that moment Spain had gone 2-0 ahead, it could have been a slightly different story. You know, and a minute later, I think Blind was one of the stars of the match,
Right.
whose father also played for Netherlands.
He was a legend for Ajax.
Yes, pinpoint accurate pass, reminded me of Frank de Boer's pass which led to Dennis Bergkamp trapping in the air and ousting Argentina in the 1998 World Cup.
Right.
So, if it had been 2-0 then, maybe Dutch shoulders would have drooped going in at half-time.
Right.
So, till then, Spain were looking all right. I think exactly what Karim said, the floodgates opened once Xabi Alonso was taken off.
Right.
And Spain lost their style. They are caught between two stools. Should we play a striker or the false number 9?
Karim, how do you, as a coach, how do you teach a player to be, jump up like that, like a dolphin? Because RVP, Van Persie, after the match, he credited Van Gaal, saying it's exactly the way he predicted for me to score a goal. In effect, he's seeing, maybe he taught him the dolphin move. Have you taught any of your players that move?
Well, it was a very, very complicated move to do. Only quality players like Van Persie can do that. Because connecting with the ball, first the ball was very high because it wasn't an easy header. He had to fly. He had to do that jump-in header.
Right.
But also while he's in the air, he had to have the awareness where is the goalkeeper. And it was a lob on the goalkeeper. It wasn't only a connection with the ball. It was well directed by Van Persie.
And what is the hair gel which Van Persie uses? Because when we saw that impact, his hair did not move. It seemed even in better shape than Cristiano Ronaldo. That's also a question we need to find out. What do you say, Karim?
Well, he's a complete striker. There is no doubt.
No.
I just want to add what Novi said.
Right.
The key. There was 2 key moments which help a lot Holland. Is the timing of their goals, the first goal and the second goal. Scoring just before halftime and sending Spanish team already shattered because already mentally down.
Right.
And then as soon as you come back, you get the second goal. So the effect is very strong and positive on Holland and very negative on the Spanish team.
But certainly happier times ahead for Manchester United fans. One has to admit, Novi, the sight of Van Persie going there. Yes, he missed doing the high five, but maybe that's their style, Van Gaal and Van Persie. And obviously the fact, Robin, fantastic, what a moment for him. He has himself admitted so many times in interviews that I have nightmares thinking, how could I miss that goal in Soccer City 2010 with Casillas in front of me? This time, he made them pay the price for that, not once, but twice. Robin was devastating.
No, he's exorcised the ghosts of 2010, the Soccer City Johannesburg. But that goal, the second goal, which Karim said was the killer punch, the way he trapped it in the air, I mean, it was masterful technique. All the Dutch players, right from Johan Cruyff down, are known for absolutely brilliant technique. And what Robin showed yesterday in both his goals, he beat them for speed, he beat them for technique.
Right.
He suddenly made Spain look their age. Even Ramos was left flat-footed.
Ramos was left flat. And Karim, you will obviously be delighted at the fact that, yes, there are a lot of stars who are not playing in the World Cup like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Lewandowski, but also there are a lot of star coaches who are not there in the World Cup, but their tactics and their decisions are resounding there. Jose Mourinho, the moment Casillas made that mistake, were you not reminded of the fact that that is precisely the reason Mourinho benched Casillas, knowing Casillas was past his best?
See, the goalkeeper position is a position that you can rotate a little bit the players, strikers, midfield, defender, but goalkeepers have to play consistently and almost every match. And I think Casillas is affected and was affected by the fact that lately in the last 1 or 2 seasons he's not very consistent. He's not playing a lot of games. But again, I would give him credit yesterday that yes, he did the mistake of that goal of Van Persie, but he saved 2 great saves, which could be because the score could be really devastating yesterday. It could have been more.
Yes, while Novi says that they missed the second goal, but also the fact that there are a couple of shots which came off the bar. But Novi, you're known for your legendary one-liners in situations like this. We would all want a special line on Piqué and Ramos. They are past their prime. What were they doing? They were standing there like sitting ducks waiting to be mercilessly exploited by the likes of Robin and even an aging Snyder. Is it not high time for Del Bosque to look for replacements now?
Well, Del Bosque should have thought of this before the World Cup started. I mean, that is the fear, that he has gone for the tried and trusted, but they are past that prime. And really, in the 2 matches left,
right,
the Atletico Madrid players, whoever he has on the bench, he should be courageous enough to make the changes. Otherwise, we could see the World Cup champions like France in 2002 going out in the first round. It will be the dirge for Spain. It will also be sad, because, I mean, Spain have given us great entertainment for 6 years. They've set a very high benchmark.
Right.
And it's sad to see the end of an era.
And obviously, when a great team goes down like this, it's possibly the end of an era. And it's also, in a sense, given us the courage not to discuss the likes of Diego Costa. And also the likes of Fernando Torres, which we found were ridiculous decisions by Del Bosque to bring them on. It seemed like Torres had lost his touch 6 years ago. What was he doing there on the field? Well, moving on. It was night when the Dutch gave not just Spain, but the entire world a lesson in total football. A lot of people are saying, I don't think it is total football actually. But emotions obviously ran high for both sets of supporters. Spain supporters could hardly have believed their eyes as they watched their Armada being steamrolled in what was the worst start ever for any defending champion in World Cup history. In complete contrast, it was arguably the Netherlands' greatest triumph in recent years, and the joy was visible on everyone on their side. A night to remember for the Orania, while it wasn't quite the Viva Hispana that the Armada fans have become accustomed to in recent years.
It was catastrophic, really bad. They aren't there, they're too slow, they're tired. I don't know what's wrong with them. They just can't cope at the moment.
5-1, revenge from the World Cup. I was lost 4 years ago. South Africa 4 years ago, we lost the final.
All right, a certain gentleman by the name of Johan Cruyff might be delighted at this moment looking at this tactical revolution which Van Gaal has brought into Dutch football. On that note, it's time for a short break here on the show. When we come back, we talk about Chile and how they have actually increased the pressure on the Spaniards. At stake, a place for survival at 2014 World Cup. Welcome back to the beautiful game. Yes, Novi Kapadia and Karim Menturi were still sitting here with us and talking about Group B. But before we talk about Group B, let's talk to you about the other game which happened late last night, in fact early this morning. Now, as if their own disaster against Holland wasn't already enough, Chile put all the more pressure on Spain with a comfortable 3-1 victory over Australia in the other group game last night. Now, the South Americans raced to a superb start. Alexis Sanchez giving his side the lead in the 12th minute after a goal-mouth scramble. Striker Jorge Valdivia added another goal just a couple of minutes later as Chile stamped their class on a lackluster Aussie outfit at that point, what it looked like to make it 2-0 inside the first 15 minutes. The Socceroos, though, would get one back through Tim Cahill in the 35th minute, but Jean Bourgeois killed any hopes of a comeback whatsoever with a stoppage time goal to seal the deal for Chile, giving them what could prove to be a vital lead over the defending champions in their group. All right, let's now take you through the standings, the group standings with this, what in effect this means, victory for Chile means for Spain. There we see Holland off to a flying start, a great goal difference after a 5-1 thumping over Spain. They are at top with 3 points. Chile placed second with the comfortable win, 3-1 win over Australia. Australia yet to open their account, but look at Spain where it is placed. The first game, goal difference of -4, and Spain now faces a must-win situation against Chile in their next game. The fact of the matter is, yes, it increases pressure on Spain, and a lot of people, a lot of Spaniard supporters will obviously love the team to still remain there. But at the outset, Chile, yes, all the attention was on the Holland-Spain game, Novi. But the way Chile played was very, very impressive, and they have actually given a very good account of themselves as to how they can also hold fort there.
Chile, even in 2010, were a very good team, a very fine attacking team, and they were in Spain's group then also. Chile was expected to do well on South American soil, and they have proved that. And Sanchez and all the entire squad plays a very fine attacking game under Sampioli. And it's a question of it's a do or die situation for Spain. Against Chile, they'll have to win. The goal difference, I think, goes out of the window. Spain has to reach 6 points to get through. Or, Chile, if they can manage a draw, it'll really put pressure on Spain. They may not even get through.
And, Karim, obviously, whenever it's a South American team, nothing ceases to amaze us football fans. The variety of attacks, the variety of formations and patterns which we see in the different teams. Brazil is different, Argentina is different. But for once, Chile, it looked like they don't believe in defending, or was it just against Australia? The way they literally started, they didn't care about, whoever was standing in defense. They actually had 5 attackers pressing forward. It looked like they were, moment they heard Spain has been knocked down by Holland, let's go for the kill and finish off Australia as far as possible.
I think beside the result of Spain and Holland, Chile have a philosophy of play which is based on good, attractive football and going forward. In fact, sometimes they play even 3-4-3.
Right.
Very, very attacking side. We had seen yesterday 2 quick goals, 12th minute, 14th minute, especially dazzling performance by Sanchez. So that's why since the start of our discussion, we put definitely Chile as one of the dark horses of this World Cup.
Who knows? It could, from the way it looks like at this point of time, might as well could be a Brazil versus Chile face-off in the next round. But Novi, definitely too much of pressure on Spain now. Yes, they have been literally mauled by the Dutch. The critics will be out there baying for the blood of the team and of course the coach. But the fact of the matter is they need to not only regroup but also prove to the world that all is not lost. Possibly tiki-taka still remains as good of a potent force.
2 crucial questions in this. Is it that tiki-taka is not over, or is it the end of an era for this generation of players? So I think it's still a bit premature to sing the dirge for this Spanish song. It's the rain in Spain is falling all over at present. There are probably tears all over
the resistance
Spain.
Seems to be on its definitely on its last legs.
On its last leg. I mean, it's the match with Chile which will tell us where does Spain go from here.
All right, we'll have to wait and watch that match against Chile, which is virtually a must-win encounter there for Spain. Now, moving on to the other game which was played earlier last evening. Mexico starting their World Cup campaign with a win over the indomitable Lions, who did not look as indomitable they used to be in the past. Cameroon, in a game where once again refereeing decisions came into sharp focus. A high-tempo start from Mexico, and the runs from the flanks at Cameroon worried. Mexico had a Giovanni Dos Santos goal ruled out for offside, though replays showed he was unlucky. Samuel Eto'o then had a goal correctly ruled out for offside in the 16th minute, and the 31st minute, the third time again, Dos Santos again denied by the offside flag, and this time too he was offside. Now onside. Now 0-0 at half-time, but the deadlock was finally broken in the pouring rain with Oribe Peralta seizing a loose ball in the box to slam it home, and it stayed that way, giving Mexico the win and the much-needed points. All right, time for us to slip into a short break, but don't go away. We are going to come back with a big match from the group of death later tonight. That is the marquee encounter between England and Italy. Welcome back. You're watching the beautiful game here on CNN IBN. Now, if it was a direct fight between 2 national leagues, then England would be a runaway winners. Yet, despite all the riches the Premier League has to offer, it is the Italians who claim the bragging rights, at least when World Cup glory is concerned, with 4 titles compared to England's only one in 1966. Now, this is the group of death, and again, there is simply no margin for error.
To win Italy the World Cup.
This was the moment on a memorable night in Berlin in 2006.
And Italy are the world champions of 2006.
The Azzurri becoming the only European team to win 4 world titles. And under Cesar Prandelli, they are genuine contenders for a 5th. With the peerless Andre Pirlo pulling the strings, the Italians are a compact unit despite the injury to Riccardo Montolivo. A few youthful faces have made the cut, but the experience of Daniel De Rossi and Claudio Marchisio alongside Pirlo will provide the ammunition to the strikers up front.
It will be a very tough game because England team is strong. They have experience about the World Cup. They have also a good coach as well, and it's the first game, so nobody knows how they are fit or not.
Over the years, Italy have been known for their rock-solid defence, but it is that area which could be exploited by a rampaging England. But only if the pragmatic Roy Hodgson listens to his heart and injects an infusion of pace and trickery through the likes of Raheem Sterling, Adam Lallana and Ross Barkley. Daniel Sturridge is the preferred man up top, and that could lessen the burden on Wayne Rooney and give him the space to finally explode at a World Cup.
The squad we've got is a youthful squad, a lot of energy and excitement, and in terms of Italy it's more or less the same squad, so it'll be an interesting game for us to see how we've moved on. And
Italy's on for terrible Mario Balotelli and Ciro Immobile present a selection headache for Prandelli up top. But in the end, the headaches could come out on a patchy pitch in sweltering conditions in Manaus, deep in the Amazon.
All right, will it be Balotelli or will it be Rooney, Henderson, Lallana or Sterling? That's a big question. Novi Kapadia, this is one topic you're always ready for, and I'm sure you're never bored about. Whenever England comes to play in a World Cup, the burden of expectation is massive. But this time it seems that possibly the English people themselves are not really looking at England winning a World Cup. That in itself could be a big boost to Roy Hodgson's team.
Yes, the pressure is much less, and Rooney is relatively not plagued by injuries, and he himself has gone on to said he'd like to be like what Suarez is for Uruguay, and there are lots of exciting young players. Roy Hodgson should have the guts to field Raheem Sterling or the Ox, who can also tear apart a defence.
Right.
But the heat will prevent the humid conditions will probably prevent England from playing a high-tempo game. So that should suit Italy. Pirlo could spray the passes around, but then Balotelli is an unknown factor. He's
Right.
the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We
Right.
don't know who he'll play for. He could help England more.
Right, I know Karim is itching to talk about Balotelli, but before you do that, Karim, considering what we saw from Spain versus Holland, the fact is that yes, age, when it catches up with players, it's merciless, and that's what we've seen with this aging Spanish side. While yes, Pirlo is a sentimental favourite for a lot of people, he's a fantastic player. He's also old, he's around 35, which in footballing years is pretty old. Considering that fact, if Hodgson actually unleashes his trio, Liverpool trio who've played so well together this season, it could be a runaway win for England, who knows, against Italy.
We can't predict. It's very difficult.
I know your name is not Paul, the octopus.
but what I mean is what we can say about Pirlo, we can say also about Lampard and Steven Gerrard. So I still think, and though we also understand football, I think Juventus have better experts than us. They just signed him 2 years. He just signed a new 2 years contract.
Right.
So they have the best specialists, they have the best doctors.
Right.
If they had seen in his body that there is signs of aging or tiring, I
Right.
don't think they will offer him 2 years contract.
A quick one on you, Karim. Yes, there is a lot of talk about Raheem Sterling, considering the sensational season he's had, but there also seems to be a view that hold him back for a while, let him start later. What would you have done possibly?
I would
in
throw
this?
him in this game. Roy Hodgson should take lesson or two from Van Gaal on the game that we saw yesterday.
Right.
You know, the reason, another reason why Holland destroyed Spain is with pace, speed, and energy.
Right.
So there is a lot of youngsters that was on that side of Holland that helped them have that extra energy, especially we had seen Spain lost in the second half.
Right.
And maybe we could put one of the factors is the fatigue, is the energy that the young legs have.
Right, we'll surely talk a lot more about this later tonight when we actually do the preview for this massive game between England and Italy. But as we sign out, Novi, very quickly, what are your expectations from a Pirlo and Buffon? This is the last time, surely, at least on the World Cup stage, we are seeing them.
Yes, World Cup international stage, it probably is the last time. But as I agree with Karim, it's practically impossible to predict, especially after Spain versus Netherlands. Even if you were on LSD, you couldn't have predicted that result. I feel it could be a draw because the heat and humidity will take a toll on both teams.
Heat and humidity will take a toll on both teams. Possibly Roy Hodgson at this point of time is still singing that number, is humming a couple of lines from Lord Byron. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. Will they actually dream become reality for Team England? That we'll know later tonight. On that note, it's time for a short break. When we come back, a little more on how social media is activating and increasing this massive interest in what is the Cup of Life, the greatest show on earth. All right, welcome back to the beautiful game. Just a little bit of time left for us to talk about the matches which are coming up tonight. In fact, there are 4 games tonight. It's a cracking night for television viewers. First up, Group C, Colombia, the land of Reni Higuita and Carlos Valderrama against Greece. That's the first game coming up tonight at 9:30 p.m. India time, followed by half an hour past midnight, Uruguay. The magic of Suarez, will he actually play or will he be rested since he's not yet fully fit against Costa Rica? Group D, that is the group of death. Followed at 3:30 in the morning by England versus Italy. Steven Gerrard versus the ageless and rather peerless magic of Pirlo. And followed by 6:30 tomorrow morning, Ivory Coast versus Japan. Surely a couple of matches there worth waiting up and watching. Final thoughts, Novi Kapadia. England must have a cracking start to this tournament.
Well, a cracking start could also be a draw because they play Costa Rica last. Uruguay have the big problems. Do you play Suarez in the opening game and get off to a good goal difference? Now, this is a group which could be decided on goal difference.
Right. This is the group which could be. What about you, Karim? Who's going through?
Just thinking of Novi saying could be a draw, and I'm thinking no prediction anymore after the match of yesterday. Nobody could predict.
In fact, both of you were batting for Spain. But what are your thoughts? England versus Italy. It's going to be a huge game.
It's going to be a huge game, but we know the Italians are stubborn. They are tactically quite strong, and Prandelli was with them for a long time. So. I think it will be quite a difficult game for both teams.
Right, difficult games surely there for both teams. On that note, before we wrap up, let's take you through how social media, how you can join us in this conversation on these shows here on CNN. I mean, all you have to do is actually tweet to us using the hashtag World Cup. Yes, the spelling is hashtag WORLDSCUP, and we'll be reading out the tweets here on the show, including the top tweet which we are calling the tweet of the day. Remember the hashtag WORLDSCUP. That's how you can join in on this conversation with Karim Ben Sharifa and of course Novi Kapadia right here on the beautiful game. Well, it's time for us to say goodbye. As we say goodbye on the show, let's take a final look at the magic of the Orania as they mesmerized, humiliated and destroyed the Spanish Armada.